good to be here. Glad to be here with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I know. You were supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is great.
I can't wait for it. Yeah, we got a good show in store. So that's going to be a fun time. And then we're probably going to call it a show right after that. So let's get right to it. What about the Rays? Taking two, coming back to
Definitely a great game all the way around. There's a part of you that, like, when that happens, you want to kind of turn the channel, but it was fantastic. I thought it was great. Some decent pitching today. I thought Snell pitched just a couple innings, which I thought was interesting that they didn't let him go a little bit.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. Yeah, when I heard that.
Yeah, so they didn't give him too much of a leash, which is okay. Which is kind of what you want, just to kind of see kind of how he looks. And I thought he was great. He had 5 strikeouts today and only gave up 3 hits. A couple times he got out of trouble, but all in all, it was great. It was a good come-from-behind win for the Rays for sure. And it was kind of interesting with Toronto because the pitcher Giles looked like he was just in pain there.
Yeah, he did. I don't know what went on there. Did they ever say what happened to him? Because I tuned off right after the game was over. So did they ever say what happened to him? Does he have shoulder discomfort? What? Did they ever say it? Toronto ever?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they ever figured out what was going on with him, and that's okay. It ended up working out in our favor, obviously. But yeah. Hey, it's I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said something to me that kind of stuck out. He was like, the interesting thing about the Rays game today is that the Rays really, if you look at it, they only had 8 hits. Toronto had 13. Really, on paper, you look at it, and the Rays probably shouldn't have won this game or even come anywhere close to it.
No, they shouldn't have. Yeah, they shouldn't have. Yeah, you're right.
But it's one of those games you look back and you go, you know what? I really think that this is one of those wins that the Rays need to have this year. It's one of those tough wins that they need, and I think it was pretty great today, and it was good to get the series win. And now they take on an Atlanta team this week, which is very difficult.
Yeah, I heard it's a home and home. I can't wait to see that. I really can't. I mean, you got
they have Acuna Jr. on that team too, which is
Freddie Freeman, Fultonevich, who's going to be pitching, I think, tomorrow. Fultonevich, I mean, one of their up and coming pitchers. It's going to be an interesting series. This is what I love about this season coming up. You got teams you would never think you would face this season. I mean, who would have thought we'd be facing Atlanta, the Mets, the Phillies? Well, we always face the Marlins, but who'd think we'd face all of them teams this year? I didn't, coming into this year. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was a little bummed about this year is that we were supposed to have a couple games at Wrigley Field this year.
Oh yeah, we were.
In the original schedule, but obviously, with everything going on, I think it definitely makes things interesting. Playing Atlanta, we actually, Byron, we split 2 and 2, so we played 2 there the next 2 days, and then they'll come home for 2 games.
Okay.
So we actually played 2 and 2, not 3 and 3, which is fine. It's still the same thing.
Still the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2 young teams, and look, I think both of these guys can really make some good moves here, and we could be seeing both of these guys again in potentially a World Series matchup this week, which I think would be great.
It would be awesome. I gotta get into the other part of the game though. What do you think about the new ruling for basically what they do in minor leagues now? The extra innings to try and speed up the game. Do you like that or do you hate that as a baseball fan?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it gives a whole new strategic outlook on the game. Because if you notice, both teams, Toronto and the Rays, were both sitting there like, okay, what do we do in this situation? Now, if you're the away team and you're putting a runner on second, the option would be, well, do you bunt the guy over to third and things like that? And statistically, as we heard today, no, you wouldn't do that.
Right.
But then if you're a home team and you're down a run, do you bunt the guy over just to get him to third and see what happens? Because if you tie the game, you're going to keep playing. So there's a lot of strategy that goes in behind it, which I think makes it more interesting. It kind of reminds me of a few years ago when the NHL decided to move to 3-on-3 overtime rules for hockey. It makes it more exciting. Definitely speeds up the game, and it also just makes it more strategic. And I think that's a lot of fun for people who like that mentality like me. I love the strategy part of a game. I think is underrated, and I love that stuff. So I think it's great, and it worked today. It definitely worked in the Rays' favor.
It did.
It worked in Toronto's favor too, because they ended up having that great steal to third base, which I thought our catcher made a great throw.
Yeah, he did.
The runner made great play sliding in.
Heard it, and I heard them say they had to review it because it was such a close play, but he dodged it. So I mean, yeah, it worked in their favor, because you think that's in baseball, that's like, I hear, the ultimate sin. I played baseball in Little League, so I kind of feel the same thing. If you don't feel confident in stealing third, that's the ultimate sin right there in baseball. You gotta know you can steal it. Never make the last out at third.
No, never. And he was out. Look, in a normal situation, he was out. I mean, it was a great throw by the Rays catcher, and I for sure, in real time, it looked like he was out. And then, of course, they challenged the play, and he turns out just to have this great slide where he moves his arm just enough to have it. So definitely a fun day if you're Rays baseball. I think it was a great weekend. But honestly, we could have easily been swept, I think, because we looked flat in a lot of areas. But they did what they had to do, and they got the series win, which is important. Now, again, we talked about it a minute ago. They got a team like Atlanta who looks really good on paper. Got a lot of young players. Got a potential MVP candidate too. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're coming off their series with the Mets, and definitely going to be an interesting few games here this week.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. And are you excited for this guest coming up? Well, you want to get right to him? You want to get right to him? Feel free to ask him some Bucks questions too. He's going to be our analyst too. Not only going to talk to him, but you can also ask him Bucks questions if you'd like. I'm sure he'd be more than glad to answer them.
You know that. I love it.
Alrighty, let's give him a call. Let's give Mike Bell a call.
Mike Bell.
Alright, we are giving him a call right now. Hopefully he'll answer. Hey Mike, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Mike?
Oh, it's forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 3035240 is not available.
We'll give him one more try.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
We'll give it one more shot.
Hit me with your best shot.
Yep, there you go. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Hey.
How you doing?
Welcome to the Sports Space Show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Trying to stay safe. I hope you and your family are as well.
Oh, definitely.
But let's hop right to it. I'm excited to have you, former Super Bowl champion with the Saints. also with the Broncos as well. So let's get right to it. I want to hop right to it. What was it like winning that Super Bowl against the future Hall of Famer
and just to actually even get some playing time in? It was great, man. Everybody wants to play against Peyton Manning as a kid. In my era growing up, we know he's the best, so he's going to bring the best to the table every game.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mike, this is James. I'm actually filling in this week too, so hopefully everything's going all right, and it's definitely cool to talk to you. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of your journey and kind of what the NFL role is like there. I mean, obviously, we know about your career and how you played at Arizona and things like that, which is awesome. But tell us, I mean, what was it like just being a running back in the NFL? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people that really want that type of role,
We didn't win a lot of games. We never got to a bowl game. I think the 5 years that I was there, we had losing seasons. So getting to the NFL wasn't going to be an easy task for me. I went to the Combine, and I went to the Senior Bowl. So I put myself in a good position to get drafted, but it just didn't happen. So I went to the Broncos as an undrafted rookie. They brought in another running back from Notre Dame named Rashawn Powers. He was kind of like a hybrid fullback, tailback kind of thing. And when we got there, being promoted me to a starting running back in 9 days. So from there, I think I led the team in rushing touchdowns that year. But the next year, they moved me to fullback, and that didn't really sit well with me. So that whole second year, I was on the bench. You know what I mean? I didn't play at all because I guess Mike Shanahan wasn't really happy with the fact that I didn't want to play and I asked to be cut or traded. So I pretty much sat my whole second year. Then the third year, they cut me. And I got week 10, I got picked up. I would have his will of me playing fullback, then I never would have got cut and then played for the Saints. So it worked out to the good.
Yeah, so take us through that when you did get cut by the Broncos, and then once Aaron Stecker gets hurt by the Saints and they come calling you, take us through that. What was going through your mind when that happened, replacing Aaron Stecker, who was a good running back for them at that point in time for them?
Oh, definitely. He was a great running back. I was actually watching him while I was at home, so never thought in a million years that the Saints would call me because they didn't need any running back because they had Deuce McAllister, they had Pierre Thomas, they had Reggie Bush, they had Aaron Stecker, they had Lionel Hamilton. So I was like, what do they need me for? But it was week 10 in the season and everybody was hurt.
Yeah.
So, like I said, everything worked out to my advantage, and when I went in there, I just didn't really I always respect competition, but it doesn't scare me. You know what I mean? The better the competition, the better my game is. So I always go in there with the respect the competition, but I'm always going in there to try to take somebody's position. And that's what I teach the kids that I train today is that always respect the people that are around you, but never be intimidated.
That's an excellent point. And here's what I would ask. Look, I host a Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. I'm filling in here for my buddy Byron and things like that. And so obviously we know the career of Drew Brees, and he's coming into a season this year with a lot of great weapons, in my opinion. Of course, you have Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, but maybe tell us what it's like playing with Drew Brees. I mean, obviously this guy is a constant, professional, and his on the field accolades are kind of speak for themselves. But tell us what was it like to line up with him on a week-to-week basis?
Man, it was crazy, man. I got to play with Jake Plummer. I got to play with Drew Brees. I got to play with a lot of great quarterbacks, Mike Vick. But it was great playing with Drew. It was great playing. The way he prepared for the game taught everybody around him. His preparation was out of this world. His skill level was out of this world. Like, he just took the game so serious. So it makes a guy like me, who thought he took it serious, made him step his game up. So I think that's his biggest quality that a lot of people don't realize. He makes the people around him play better. He makes them better people. He makes them better athletes. He just makes the environment around him better. And I think a lot of people don't have that ability.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's one of a kind. I'm going to hate to see him go, but, I mean, it's his time. He's got to win a Super Bowl. He's going to win the Super Bowl either this year or he's going to call it quits. That's what I think is going to happen. So,
for sure.
So,
I agree.
Yeah, he wants that analyst role. He's already got it. CBS, not CBS, but NBC has already got him hired to do the Notre Dame games. So it's either win or go
already.
home. Yep, already.
As a Buccaneers media person, it's kind of hard for me to pick against Tom Brady. But look, I still think the Saints are the best team in this division still, in my opinion, even though Tom Brady and Gronk joined us. But I mean, the NFC South as a whole, I mean, is just so competitive as it is. I mean, is there any other quarterback outside of maybe these two that you've been watching in the NFL? Maybe even like a Patrick Mahomes type of person, but is there any?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers probably. Nobody else. Russell Wilson, I think probably is a good comparison. They play very similar. Drew is not as mobile, but he's mobile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nobody has accuracy like Drew Brees. I don't know, man. It's hard. I'm biased because I played with him, but he was such a good quarterback, man. But he was an even better person. So it's hard for me to go against him.
So I gotta ask you then, because you're the first running back I've actually had on the show, and I'm glad I took you taking your time to join us. So I gotta ask you this: with Ezekiel Elliott being the latest to get paid a lot, do you see the value in the running back in today's game? Why the teams aren't paying them what they feel they deserve?
Oh yeah, the running back brings so much value to the position. I mean to the game, but they're having receivers do what running backs do now. So I understand it from a business perspective, but the running game is such a big part of football. You can't take away from that. And I think they try to devalue running backs so they don't have to pay them. But we all know how important they are to the offense. Can't win without a good running game.
Definitely, and that I completely agree with you on that. I think the running game is. If you don't have a good running game, you can have a great passing game. And here's the thing: that I look at the Bucs, who've had a great passing game for the last 4 or 5 years, but their run game has been kind of minute, and some of that is on coaching. I mean, do you honestly, I know you mentioned the running game is kind of everything. Is there a team that maybe like a younger team right now, maybe like a Tampa Bay or maybe another team this year that you see kind of putting all pieces together? For me, I know it's Baltimore for me. I think Baltimore got everything they needed in the draft this year. But is there maybe a team like a Baltimore that you see kind of pulling it all together this year and making a good run at it?
Cardinals.
Yeah.
I would have not thought of them.
Cardinals, maybe Seattle.
Yeah. Okay.
And Seattle just got Jamal Adams too, which I think isn't, I don't like what the Jets gave up for him personally, but I still think he's a top tier player and defensively too.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's crazy you say Arizona, because they just got DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald, and who knows how long he's going to play, but I think this has inspired him with the moves that they've made to help him. I think this has motivated him to stay longer in the league. Don't you think so?
You said it motivated Drew Brees longer?
No, it's motivated Larry Fitzgerald. I'm talking about when you said the Cardinals.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think it motivated them for sure. I mean, they're only going up from here.
Yeah. My last question for you, and I know Byron's got probably another one, but my last one for you. Who I know this is going to kind of put you on the spot, so I hope you're ready for this question. But who's really the best running back in the league right now? I mean, obviously you put Zeke Elliott maybe up there in the conversation for sure, but who's the best running back out in the league right now that people need to be watching out for?
That's easy. Barkley.
Yeah.
I think they might. He's the best, man. I think that he's way out in front. I think he's way out in front just because he can do everything. I think that another person I like is Kamara. Kamara. I always get Adrian Peterson. And I like Zeke. I think he's good, man, but I don't know. I think that he don't really stand out to me that much. I like Zeke. I mean, it would be unfair for me not to put him in the top 5 just based off his production, but he doesn't really stand out to me that much. I think he has a great offensive line. And a lot of people say that, we're not that good compared to other people. Yeah, but I think their offensive line dominates.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. The best second in the league is Barkley. I think the close second is Kamara. I like guys that are physical, but I don't like guys that are just physical because you don't want to get beat up. So when you bring a physical person to the game, man, I'm gonna like someone. That's why I like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned Adrian Peterson, since he is on the Washington team, my first to second to last question for you before we let you go is, what do you think will happen to the Washington franchise? What do you think their name will be, and what do you think will happen to Dan Snyder?
I think that they got the curse lifted off of them, so I think they're probably going to start winning some games. I think that just that bad energy out there, a lot of people didn't like that name, and I'm one of them included. You know what I mean? I feel like the Native American people out here wanted to change for so long, and they held on to it for such a long, long time. So I feel like they got that bad juju away from. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to be better than most people expect. Doing that, we don't have to worry about the BS, and they probably give some people start getting them some good vibes. So a lot of people did not like them. They've always had good players. Obviously, good coaches too. I'm surprised they didn't win more games, but I think they're cursed.
So what do you think the name will be then?
Oh, what the name will be? I think I don't know. Washington. I don't know. Warriors? I don't know.
I like the Warriors too. I'm with you. I love the Warrior name. I think you definitely have a lot of cool stuff with that. One thing I'll also point out too, and kind of on your point there, I love Ron Rivera. You know, I watched him obviously coach for the last several years with Carolina, obviously, but I think he's a great coach, and I think if there's any coach that could turn the team around, it could be him.
Yeah. I agree. I'm always pulling, bro. I'm just seeing a good game. So I'm pulling for watching this show. I'm glad they changed their name, so I'm actually pulling for them to have a winning season.
So that leads me into my next question. Then, since you said you are still a Broncos fan, why in your opinion do you think John Elway can't find a quarterback? What do you think his deal is?
I think Drew Lock is pretty good. I think that he's trying to use traditional methods. He has to be untraditional in his thinking. This is a different game from when he plays. So if he has to get out of his old way of thinking. He has to what's it called? He needs to move up. He's bringing something new to another quarterback that he went after. What's the dude's name? Chad, he plays for the Colts now, but he was a good one too. I thought that he did a good job playing there. It was a late round pick. What was his name? He played for Ole Miss, and now he's the backup quarterback for the Colts. I kicked off the team for going to somebody's house drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that one.
But it's Jim Kelly's nephew. I don't know what his name is. Chad Kelly. That's his name.
Okay.
Chad Kelly.
Well, since you're a Broncos fan, my last question here, and I know I said I had one more, but this is the last one for real. Listen, I'm a little salty with John Elway because they did my boy Tim Tebow wrong.
They did.
They did.
They did do him dirty, man.
Yeah, very dirty.
Dude came won a playoff game and then was let go for Pete Manning. Come on, man, give Tebow a chance.
Yeah, they did him wrong.
Man, I say, did John Elway bring Tebow in?
No, because what happened was they won the game and then they went to the offseason and Peyton was available. Well, they lost to the Patriots. It was pretty bad. And then they went to the offseason and then basically just they wanted Peyton, so they got him, and Tebow was yesterday. You know, I don't even think they kept him because he went to the Jets. I remember he went to the Jets for a little bit. But that was about it, man. Poor Tebow.
Poor Tebow's correct.
He was a good quarterback.
Yeah, he was. So my last question to you, Mike, before we let you go, I want to know, and I know my opinion is they can't wait until everybody's clear of this because we're going to be living with this for the rest of our lives. So what will it take to get fans back in there?
I think this is probably, I'm sorry, I hope I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I think once the election is over with, I think that things would change. You know what I mean? Just in general. So I think once the election is over with, that things will go back to a little bit of normalcy. But I mean, they're not going to let, I mean, they closed, I'm a gym owner, so they closed my gym, but they left casinos open. And so I don't know why they're not letting fans in the care benefits get sense.
Dude, I'd make them sign a waiver. That's where I'm at. Listen, if you're asking me if I'm as a fan, if I want to go see my NFL team play, and all I have to do is sign a waiver to get in, I'm doing it.
I'm with you.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. And that's what they were going to go to, but then all of a sudden they backed out of it. That's what they were originally planning. And then they backed out of it. So, I mean, it's crazy. But, definitely.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Good talk to you.
Yeah, buddy. We'd love to have you on again.
Okay, yeah, just let me know ahead of time, and I'll be glad to be on.
Perfect, we will. Stay safe out there.
All right, you too. Stay safe.
Right,
we will. Have a good night.
Bye. You too.
Nice guy, man.
Yeah, nice guy. Yeah, nice guy. I liked what he said about the fans in the stands.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I'm not gonna be surprised per se, but I'm not gonna be not surprised, if that makes sense. If all this COVID stuff just happens to be gone after November, it would be so weird. But
it would
make sense all at the same time.
It would be. And and personally I agreed with you, and I don't know why the NFL didn't stick to that. Sign a waiver. What people sign a waiver? Seriously, if they want to go see him and they want to take the risk of getting it, let them.
Yep.
As long as they're staying 6 feet distance apart, what's the problem?
Well, I think the Bucs are just trying to figure out how for Tampa. So a lot of this is going to be on, the state and the legislators there to say yes or no. But I think Tampa Bay still wants fans there. So, look, 20 to 25%. I think if you can get that, as long as you do it the right way for season ticket holders, I think that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Oh, I think we have a governor that's more than willing to put fans in the seats. He's done. I mean, he's done everything. Not trying to get into politics here because I don't want to. I don't like it, but I mean, honestly, the Republicans have been the only ones to get it right. We can't shut down our economy. We literally can't for long periods of time, or we'd be not U.S. no more. Everybody would be out of jobs.
Yeah. So I understand. I see both sides of it. I mean, it's. Again, I don't want to sit here and not...
Exactly. No, I agree with you, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get into it because I'm not a politician, nor do I want to. I think they're all crooked. So, this is so politicized, it's not even funny. So, that's how I
disagree
with that. But, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we got a who's who of talent. I said it in shows past. I don't know if you've noticed it in my shows. I've said it in the past to my past guest. He's been around the game since he was 3 years old because of his daddy. And I watched his daddy growing up. His daddy was lights out with the Minnesota Vikings. So, that's a wild card.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. And I think there's a lot of things that... Look, here's the difficult part of COVID. This is the part that nobody taught. We're going to have to really play a lot of catch up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult. I mean, even it's going to be difficult for starters. I mean, you look at a guy like Tom Brady, who, he's been working out with the offense, and things like that, but he hasn't really gotten any gameplay at this point. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the rookies hold up, but it's going to be interesting to see how the starters hold up. But Winfield is one of those guys that could potentially make a splash, and I think he'll be just fine. Look, I think this whole team is geared up to go. I don't know I'm not going to say that they're going to win a Super Bowl because I don't think it's going to happen this year. Well, I think that
as a Bucks fan,
right.
so it's hard for me to pick, but I've been a Chargers fan for a long time, since the LT Antonio Gates days and Phillip Rivers. So
the year that LT broke the rushing record, I had him on my fantasy football team.
Really? Did you?
Oh, it was great. I had a great year.
I had him most years. I tried getting him and Gates, but I could either get one or two of them because everybody kept taking them. But this is what I don't get about the Chargers. Okay, you had a good Cam Newton is proven because of this COVID. He's proven he can't prove anything, right? Because of the COVID right now. But once you want to take the chance on him, I don't get why the Chargers didn't. And Anthony Lynn, who's African American, said he'd be more than willing to take him on, but then was like, I'm happy with the two I've got. But Tyrod Taylor is not really the guy, and you can't really trust Justin Herbert because he's a rookie.
I disagree with that. Now, see, and I've been on Sports Caffeine, and I've said the same thing. I think Justin Herbert's got a lot of upside. Now, do I think Tyrod Taylor is the answer? No. The guy couldn't start in Cleveland, and he lost his job to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he did.
I think there's some difficulty there with Tyrod Taylor, but Justin Herbert, I think if he can come in and which I think he will play well. I'm not sleeping on Justin Herbert at all. I think he could potentially be a good quarterback in this league.
So let me ask you this then. Do you think he'll be better than the other rookie quarterback in Burrows from in Cincinnati?
Oh, no, Joe Burrow? I mean, that's going to be tough because, look, I think Joe Burrow is actually coming into an offense that is pretty soft. I mean, their offensive line's decent. They got a couple of good wide receivers. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a decent year. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to win the division. Although, the Pittsburgh Steelers are kind of, I'd say they're kind of on the way out.
They are.
Offensively, especially. They've lost a lot. They don't really have a decent running back. Cleveland, you never know what you're going to get. You got so many weapons there that is just unbelievable. So you don't really know what you're going to get. So I think it's to say that they would be a division winner would be a little bit of a stretch, but could they win 7 or 8 games? Yeah, potentially. I think Joe Burrow could have a solid year.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to seen him take the risk, the Chargers take the chance in Newton. I would have over Tyrod Taylor. I mean, for Anthony Lynn to say that's saying a lot of trust in Tyrod. Yeah. I'm not saying Tyrod's a bad player, but he's not no Phillip Rivers when Rivers was there. Well,
and I think that's how they show how much belief they have in Herbert too. I mean, that's the other side of it is, when you look at a guy like Cam Newton, he's a great player. I don't think any Patriots really good, because it's Bill Belichick. And that's just kind of how it goes with him. But I just don't think he's a good fit in LA because they already have. Look, they do believe in Justin Herbert, but they also believe, for some reason, in Tyrod Taylor. So, I mean, when you got a quarterback situation already, you don't really want to bring in another guy to kind of make that, situation more volatile or at least more competitive. You got 2 guys, let them battle it out for the starting role. And if Tyrod Taylor folds, which I actually think that's my prediction, Tyrod Taylor will not be the starter at the end of the year. Maybe the start at the beginning of the year, but I don't think he'll last the whole season.
I agree with you on that. I really do. I seriously do because, like I said, he's a good player. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say he's not. There's a reason why he's been in the league for a long time. He led him to a playoff game. He almost beat Saxonville in the playoffs that one year in that 6-3 game. Yeah. So I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I just don't think he has what it takes to lead that team to where they want to go, which is a Super Bowl. I just don't. And I truly agree with you. I think Herbert will be the starter. I mean, history just goes to show, like you said, he lost a job to freaking Baker Mayfield, who had talent around him, and he couldn't even, and he still got benched for Baker. So
I'm one of those people that just look. I look at a guy long term, and I see Justin Herbert being able to be developed. I think the only bad part for him is that while he is sitting under a veteran quarterback of Tyrod Taylor, he's not a very good veteran quarterback.
No,
I think that if you want to learn from a guy, I don't know if it's going to be Tyrod Taylor for me.
No,
I think he's talented. I just don't think he has enough to be the starter for the season.
Same. So then since we did talk about Newton, that leads me to my next one. Do you see him signing a long-term deal if he proves himself in New England over Stenham as a long-term?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be silly not to. Again, I think you're still, listen, off the field issues aside, which I think it's some of the issues with Cam is not so much his on the field, it's his mentality. And I think, interestingly enough, we had some prediction on our show of, this little culture clash between Cam Newton and Bill Belichick, and are they going to get along? They're two completely opposites.
They are, yeah.
When it comes to player and coach. Yep. Now, in some ways, being the opposite of your coach can work dividends, and it can work really well. In other ways, it could be like Terrell Owens and Andy Reid, and that didn't work out so well in Philadelphia.
No, it didn't.
So again, I mean, you look at a situation like, what kind of Cam are we going to get? Are we going to get MVP? He just won the MVP 5 years ago. I think people are short to forget that. This is a former MVP who got the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they didn't play well, but he got them to the dance. So I think it's a situation where if you're looking at Cam Newton and you want to give him an opportunity long term.
From what I hear, Stid. And I guess Belichick don't have many nicknames for people, I guess, but yeah, I don't see that happening. Him taking, I didn't like Stidham out of Auburn. I didn't. Yeah. I saw him at Auburn when he faced Florida. Well, because we have the SEC games on CBS here, and he was on most of them as their QB. I didn't like how he played. He had a lot of interceptions. Didn't throw so well. Didn't have really high QBRs. I just didn't like that draft pick. I just didn't coming out of that draft. There was other QBs better than Stidham.
For some of you who don't know, I actually don't live in Florida. This may surprise you, but I live in Alabama. So I live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, more specifically. So we have a lot of Alabama football. And obviously you see a lot of Auburn football around here too. And I've seen Stidham play. I'm not saying that he's, I'm not going to be quick to say that he's a bust or that he's not a good quarterback. I think there's some solidarity to what he has to bring to the field. But am I going to say he's better than Cam Newton right now? No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It would be tough to even say that right now. But yeah. Before we end the show, I would like to get into with one more team. I want to ask you about the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. What did you think about that deal with Patrick Mahomes? Do you think it was fair or foul of him? Do you think he should have taken the money? Do you think he should have given him a discount? What do you think? Because a lot of people are mixed views on this.
Okay, so let me answer this question. First of all, I like the deal. I think it makes sense. Patrick Mahomes is a franchise quarterback who won an MVP his first year and then came back and won a Super Bowl the next. So I think you have to invest in him. Mm-hmm. What I have liked to have seen, and this is kind of going into a conversation about contracts, which is just way more deep than I want to go with this question. But what I've liked to see in a different contract, he really, he's getting a pretty decent amount, but he's not getting a guarantee. That's what I think is so interesting between baseball and football. You know, you look at a guy like Mike Trout, got all of this guaranteed money. And I mean, he's worth every dime of it. But he's the guaranteed money for the player. So that means you're kind of giving control to the franchise, which I thought was a little uneasy, I guess, and maybe that's where some of the issue is with me. But as far as your question, simply, I think he's worth every penny that he's getting paid. He's a leader, and this franchise is again, it's not just him that signed. A number of other signings that are building this team for a dynasty type run. And I love that this year we're going to play them. Tampa Bay is going to play Kansas City because I think that could be a potential. Now, I'm not saying the Bucs are going to get there, but it could be a potential Super Bowl matchup.
It could be. You're right. I agree. It very well could be. It just sucks, unfortunately, we won't be able to see them at the stadium or
on TV. On TV.
I was disappointed. I wanted to see the Chargers. I was hoping to see the Chargers this year in person. My first NFL game.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to go to that game with one of our sponsors who does our jerseys, which you see me wearing here.
Nice.
He's actually a diehard. He's a diehard Charger fan too. So he actually was going to invite me out to the Tampa Bay area, and he was gonna hook me up with the Chargers ticket. But now we'll see what happens. I guess I don't know. Hopefully they come up with a flipping vaccine. We'll see. So.
I mean, if you ask back to that question, though, if you ask my opinion, I mean, I think he did well taking that money because it proves that he's willing to take a pay cut so they can sign the players to help build a dynasty. Basically what Brady did all them years in New England. They wouldn't have I don't think they would have won those Super Bowls if Tom Brady would have ate up all that money. That's just my opinion. I don't think they would have.
Look, I don't think you give a discount to Patrick Mahomes. I think, again, you know exactly what you have with him. He's just such a talented quarterback, but maybe close to it. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be Dak Prescott.
No, it's not.
It's going to be Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, Lamar Jackson, they're the favorites to win the whole entire Super Bowl this year. And I thought based on their draft this year.
Yeah, it's going to be Lamar. It ain't going to be Prescott, which
no.
I got a few minutes here left with you. So do you think he gets paid, though? Do you think the Cowboys blew it with Prescott, or do you see them going separate ways?
I honestly think that they may go separate ways, and I hate saying that. I mean, Dak is a good quarterback. He's not elite, though. And I think that's where the Cowboys are wrestling with, that he had an off year. I say the only way that they stay, or Dak stays in Dallas, is if they win the division. And because, last year that division was awful.
It was.
And everybody is picking Philadelphia to just run away with it this year, which I can see why. Although don't sleep on, as Mike Bell said, don't sleep on Saquon Barkley either, because he's still the best running back in the league.
Yep.
And Daniel Jones, I think, is going to be much more improved this year. But they still have a lot of work to do there in New York.
They do.
In answer to your question, I think Dak Prescott, if they win the division, maybe even win a playoff game, then maybe. But with the way that this contract he's not going to get as much as Patrick Mahomes. And if he tries to get that much, he's silly because he's not worth it.
No, he's not. He's not.
I think you could very well see him playing in another uniform next year. Would not surprise me.
I agree. I personally agree with you on that. But I appreciate your time. Thank you for being the co-host tonight, emergency co-host. I appreciate it. Tell us and the audience that we have here where we can follow you and all that good stuff so they can hear your show.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, it's on every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow night, we're going to be talking some Bucks. You can find us on Twitter, at @Saints_set, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. You can find us in all those places. Tomorrow night's our live show. And Really excited. Actually, send some positive thoughts my way, viewers. If you think about it, Friday I have a interview with a local station here in Alabama for an internship for
there you go,
a radio show. So we'll see what happens.
There you go. Hey, positive things. See,
Yeah,
and say hello to JP for me too. He's a good guy. I love JP.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
But yeah, thank you again, and I'd love, again, like we've talked about before, I'd love to come on your show as well. So
sure, yeah, man, we'll work it out.
Definitely. But yeah, until then, you have a good night. Stay safe out there, and I'll definitely be tuning into your show tomorrow. So, and feel free to share the show, since we're the co-host, so that way we can help each other out. So, and good luck with your interview. I wish you luck.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys, and y'all have a great night.
You too, and I'll stay in touch